Good day, friends. The oldest traditional material for building watercraft was ship timber. Later, ships began to be constructed from steel, light alloys, and composite materials. But during the two world wars, an unusual type of ship had its rise: vessels made of concrete. Many will surely be surprised by this fact and ask how such a thing is even possible in practice. Today we want to tell you how and why ships were built out of concrete. Before we begin, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and give this video a like. It should be noted that concrete, like steel, was a more advantageous material than wood. It does not rot, it does not burn, and it has good strength. Shipbuilders turned to such an unusual method not out of good fortune. The demand for reinforced concrete ships appeared during the First World War, after a shortage of steel arose. The fact is that the design of such vessels does not contradict the known laws of physics. Moreover, concrete ships, like any others, fully operate according to Archimedes' law of buoyancy. As a result, a ship built of reinforced concrete does not sink like a stone thrown into the water, but floats on the surface and has quite decent dynamic characteristics. Such a vessel is less likely to overturn in waves, but it moves much more slowly due to its heavy weight. Those who still doubt that a concrete ship can float should remember that, by the same logic, every metal-hulled ship should also sink to the bottom. However, that does not happen. Back in the mid-19th century, the French inventor Jean-Louis Lambot proposed an unusual project that attracted attention at the Paris World Exhibition of 1854. The inventor presented a rowing boat, whose uniqueness lay in its material and construction technology. The frame of the boat was made of wire mesh, which was coated with cement. Lambot presented his invention as something that could completely replace wood. The novelty sparked interest among inventors from many countries, who began creating their own models of boats and yachts. Among the advantages of reinforced concrete ships, experts note significant savings of metal used in construction. The hull requires 1.5 to 3 times less than a steel vessel. They also point out the speed and low cost of construction, availability of materials, the possibility of hiring workers without prior shipbuilding experience, resistance of the hull to corrosion, lower repair expenses, and fire resistance. The cost of building such a ship was much lower than one made of metal. The disadvantages: these ships had a greater draft due to their heavier hull. Concrete resists static loads but can be easily damaged by strong impact. A thicker hull was necessary to achieve the same strength as steel. Such a ship consumed more fuel, which negated the profitability of transportation. Construction success also depended heavily on natural conditions. Working with reinforced concrete in low temperatures was difficult or even impossible. Such vessels could not be easily modernized. While additional fragments could be welded to a metal ship, this was impossible with concrete. Europe returned to concrete shipbuilding during the First World War, when warring nations needed a huge number of ships but suffered an acute shortage of high-quality steel. By 1919, more than 1,000 ships using this technology had been built. Most were constructed in Italy, Germany, Norway, France, Denmark, and Sweden. Some reinforced concrete vessels were launched in the United States and even China. Why did concrete attract such close attention from shipbuilders? During the World Wars, steel was in short supply, mostly diverted to weapons production. At that time, reinforced concrete shipbuilding became a solution to the problem. These ships were stronger than many metal counterparts, could be repaired after receiving damage, were durable, and resistant to ice in winter. After the Second World War, concrete shipbuilding experienced another revival, peaking in 1946 to 1948. This time, most were built in the USSR and post-war Germany. During the war, about 3 dozen such vessels were created in the USA, but they were soon abandoned again. Some were used until the early 21st century. A few remain operational even today. Today, concrete is used in building floating oil storage facilities and drilling platforms. In 1975, a reinforced concrete tanker was built to store liquefied gas, with a cargo capacity of 60,000 tons. Perhaps the most famous concrete vessel is the Atlantis. It was 77 meters long and weighed 2,500 tons. Built by the Liberty Shipbuilding Company in Georgia, it was launched on December 5, 1918. It was the second concrete ship in the world, constructed during preparations for the First World War. The war ended a month before its completion, but the Atlantis was used to transport American soldiers home from Europe and to carry coal to New England. In 1920, the vessel was decommissioned and left in a Virginia port. In March 1926, a restored Atlantis began being towed to Cape May, USA. On June 8, however, a storm struck, and the ship wrecked just 150 meters from the shore of Sunset Beach. Attempts were made to raise the vessel for repairs, but they failed. Since then, the Atlantis has become a tourist attraction. In the late 1950s, the ship broke in two. Today, it still rests 150 meters from the shoreline. In the post-war period, steel production returned to previous levels and regained its availability for shipbuilding. Concrete ships were phased out as unprofitable, while many surviving vessels were scuttled. Some became attractions. In British Columbia, about 10 ships were arranged in an arc to serve as a breakwater. Thank you all for watching. If you found this video interesting, subscribe to the channel and give it a like.